What's up, everybody? Matt with BAAM Ranch. Glad you're here and thanks for watching. So what I figured we'd discuss today was long-term food storage. It's been the goal of almost everybody in the preparedness community for that 1 year's worth of food storage is kind of considered to be the gold standard. And it's a really intimidating thought on how do you store up a year's worth of food. It's a lot, and I'm going to be honest with you and straight. We're not quite there yet. We're just about this close, but we're not 100% there yet to a full year. We could probably do it, but we'd be cutting rations back quite a bit after about the first 6 months. So today, I'm going to tell you about the two methods that we use that get that ball rolling pretty quick. And you'd be surprised how fast you can get at least 6 months of food set back. So stick around, don't go away, and let's talk about it. Okay, so there's really two different methods that our family actually uses. One is the bulk storage method, and two is 7 meals method. So let's break that down. Let's go over the bulk storage method first. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all I didn't come up with either of these. These are kind of a mixture of things that I've read in other places. A lot of it came from Viking Preparedness or the Bear Independent YouTube channel. There's nothing new in this world, and it's just a different take on information that's already out there. So bulk storage, 750 pounds of grain per person per year. So this would be 750 pounds divided evenly among corn, wheat, rice, and beans. So this is normally with your rice. It's normally a white rice. Brown rice has the fats and oils on it, and it tends to spoil a little, go rancid sooner. So I like to buy the white jasmine rice. With the corn, we're just talking about field corn or feed corn, right? Non-inoculated corn, just standard. You could use deer corn if you wanted. There's a little bit of trash in deer corn, but you could use that. The wheat, we're talking hard red winter wheat berries. And a portion of your wheat can be stored as flour and needs to be stored as flour. And a portion of that can be stored as pasta. We tend to go pretty heavily on the pasta just because it's something that's simple and easy. Those four things, corn, wheat, rice, and beans, if stored correctly, can be stored anywhere from, you'll hear different theories on it, from up to 25 years to indefinitely, if stored correctly without oxygen, in the absence of light, and if you can keep the bugs out of it. Light, getting rid of the light, getting rid of the oxygen play a big part in keeping the bugs out of that stuff and stop the eggs that are already in there from hatching out. And you open up your bucket, and what do you know, there's 10,000 little bugs crawling around there eating up all your food. So how do you buy this stuff? Well, the rice and beans are pretty easy. You can go to the store and just buy them by the 50-pound sack. As a general rule of thumb, a 5-gallon bucket holds a little more than 30 pounds of grain. I round it down to 30. Consider every bucket holds 30 pounds, and then I know I'm coming out better than what I planned whenever I get to 750. Now with your wheat and your corn, you take a trip to your local granary. Some parts of the country, they call it a grain silo, grain elevator, a granary. They're all the same thing. It just depends on what part of the country you're in. So wherever the farmers take their grain to sell it, that's where you go and you buy it. You can buy it by the bushel. For example, a bushel of corn is about 56 pounds. We've already been over 30 pounds of that corn can go into a 5-gallon bucket, and you just buy it by the bushel. Prices on this stuff, it's a commodity, so it changes daily, but it's really inexpensive once you get to looking at it. $100 worth of bushel corn or bushel wheat will buy you a pretty dang good amount of both. And you'd be surprised how fast you can get that and how little it actually costs. Now, in my mind, and this isn't set in stone, you may have your own opinions, I think the best way to store this stuff is in Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber sized to the Mylar bag. I don't like taking one huge bag to fill up a 5-gallon bucket. simply because if something happens and that bag gets compromised, well, then I've lost 5 gallons worth of wheat or corn or whatever it may be. So I tend to get 1 gallon bags, fill those up, and put the appropriate sized oxygen absorber in there for that particular bag. Seal that bucket up, put it away, keep it out of the light. There's a little bit of controversy on whether or not the freeze-thaw cycle helps these or hurts these. I know after about 120 degrees sustained, wheat, and I guess the others too as well, but some of the proteins can start to degrade. With that being said, the freeze-thaw cycles, they kill all the bug eggs that are in them, naturally occurring anyway. But we store ours inside. If I wouldn't have any problem moving them outside if we needed to, but we do store ours inside. So that wraps up the bulk storage method. Now let's talk about my personal favorite method, which would be the 7 meals plan. Okay, the 7 meals plan says that we take 7 meals that your family already enjoys eating. That's 1 new meal each day, and we buy 52 of them. And this goes pretty easy and goes pretty fast. One example of that would be canned chicken Alfredo. So what we do is our family, for 1 meal, eats about a pound of pasta. So we go to the store, we buy a pound of pasta, and whenever they go on sale for $1 a pack, we just buy 52 of them. So for under, around $60, we've got a whole year's worth of pasta figured out, because on Tuesday we're eating pasta, right? Then we can go to Sam's Club or Costco, or you can normally find them sometimes anyway at your normal grocery store. The cans of Alfredo sauce, the jars, I guess normally they come in jars. And then you buy a bulk pack of that. You buy a 12 pack of that or a 6 pack of that. Well, then there's 6 weeks worth of Monday's meals all figured out. Chili mac is another thing that we like to eat. So we're just going to get some, Kraft or whatever brand of macaroni and cheese, the dried boxes, as well as, a 12 pack of chili. Get a 12 pack of those. Boom, we've got the next 12 weeks of, Friday figured out. You repeat this process as you go with 7 meals. And you'll need to supplement these, we like sides, green beans and broccoli and canned carrots. We like different things like that. So we go ahead and buy some of that as well to supplement it with, just to make it a little bit more appetizing. And here's the kicker. We've actually got into this stuff before on a short-term basis, but whenever there's a blizzard out, and we could get to town if we wanted to, but it's just not really worth the risk, right? Well, we'll go ahead and break into that and just replace it whenever we go back to the store the next time. So it's an extremely useful, system. And considering that it's basically dump in pot, heat up, boil water, it's really, really easy to make all this stuff. And a lot of this stuff can actually be eaten cold, right? Vegetable beef stew, you can pass out a can to everybody, or SpaghettiOs, pass out a can to everybody, and you can eat that cold if you had to. Now, it goes without being said that the ultimate way to expand on any of this stuff would be with a garden, right? If you want to be a real baller, get a garden and some sort of backyard livestock like chickens, egg birds and meat birds alike. Expand this stuff like crazy. We go back to your stuff like your corn, wheat, rice, and beans. What does that do? That also serves to extend a meal, right? So you make a pot of beans, and you can add some rice to that. It turns that beans into 2 different meals, correct? And the same goes with everything else. You want to make some homemade chili? Canned chicken chili is something that we plan on making a lot of, and we actually do eat it quite a bit. Just some pinto beans, canned chicken, and the other ingredients that we add to that to make it works out amazing. Bread is something that's pretty important in our diets. You can hit or miss on whether or not that's good for you, but we like it, so we do eat it a lot. And here's a trick. Making tortillas is a whole heck of a lot easier than making actual loaf bread, right? So we actually do make a lot of homemade tortillas. So all of this stuff ties back into each other, And if you use both methods and combine them together, you'll be surprised at just how fast you can eat like almost a king at the end of the world, and just how fast you can get a whole year's worth of food set back. It's 6 months, if nothing else. There's no reason why you can't use this and set up at least 6 months worth of food supply. So anyway, let me know what y'all think and tell me what y'all do. And until next time, you be safe.